the honest audiophile, and Opie. He's not very happy. He decided he didn't want to do the live stream after all. He was like, yeah, you gonna be grumpy. You gotta say hi to everybody. Come on. Stop being grumpy. Be grumpy. You gotta say hi to everybody. Come on. All right. So, anyways, how's everybody doing today? The craziness of the world of late for me. I'm still trying to adjust. Life has been crazy. Just that's the only way I know how to describe it. It's just a new position at work, things happening with the family, and just life in general. So it's just you gotta roll with the punches, so to speak. And let me get this microphone moved out of the way a little bit here. There we go. So the punches of life just have been coming and coming and coming, and just keep standing and taking them and fighting back. So anyways, the first question: can I compare the XS with the Ananda? I would if I've heard the XS, but I've never heard the XS. So sorry about that. Hopefully one day I will get one in for review. As far as everybody else, there's questions. That's it so far. So put the questions down in the comments and into the chat, and I'll get to them as they come. And let's just have some fun tonight. Let's relax and enjoy the Saturday evening, Sunday morning, whichever it is for you. And currently right now it is 8 p.m. here in the great state of Indiana. You still got your music when life gets hard. That's absolutely right. I have really been leaning heavily on music in the night times after my shift's over, and really start trying to just kind of chill. The new position, excuse me, is more like intense and not quite as laid back as my previous position. And so it kind of, when I get off the shift, I'm like, just I'm done. I'm just ready to, just call it quits for the day. Whereas before it was kind of, okay, I'm going to go sleep for a while and then get up in the afternoon, listen to music and get my day started. And, and I was up for quite a while before my shift would start because I worked third shift, and now working days. It's just been an adjustment. If you've ever worked third shift and then transitioned, it's unique. It's a very interesting way. Or you did days and then went to thirds. But I did thirds for about 7 years. So I was really like, solidified in that position. So it's taking a little bit. What do I do? I'm in customer service. I am currently, my position involves like, we'll say parts inventory and backlog. And I'm working in regards to that with customers and advising on parts and stuff. The company that I work for is a food service company. So we repair like commercial kitchens and stuff like that. So hello everybody. And we are starting to see some people join in. I don't know how many will get in tonight. Currently got 8 online. So that's good. Thank you. Thank you for joining. And try being a chef. Yeah. Oh, actually, I speak to chefs pretty much all day, or executive kitchen managers. So totally understand the stress. If that's, I probably actually add to it, unfortunately, if I've ever given you a call. But anyway, so I apologize for any chefs out there if I've called you and frustrated you by having to give you some bad news about parts being on back order or something. I can't imagine being a chef. It's stressful enough for me cooking in the kitchen for my wife and myself. So, or if you have friends over, I couldn't imagine doing. That's a lot of work. A lot of people depending on it, and yeah. But anyways, hey, tastes good if you're good. So, anyways, any questions? I will answer anything tonight. Now, note, I said I will answer anything. I didn't say how I will answer it, though. But you can ask any question, and let's see what we can churn out here for the next hour and a half, 2 hours. See how long this lasts. Think about cooking and the fire department shows up. Yeah, that could be a problem. Can't imagine how stressful that would be. I've been in a restaurant when the fire department showed up, but it wasn't because of a fire. It was because somebody like cut their finger or something. But still, it's got to be stressful. By the way, you're not supposed to have the ovens and stuff like that high in order to catch things on fire. Just kidding. Well, thank you, Ian. You, my favorite fellow YouTuber. Greatly appreciate that. Not familiar with your channel. I'll have to check that out, Ian. Plumbers can say, I'll come back tomorrow. Yeah, not with a chef. Absolutely. That could be a problem. Hey, I'll fix that for you tomorrow. You can come back tomorrow and you'll have your chicken parm. Now, if it's out of stock, you could say that. Hey, JT, I've had someone set fire to a deep fryer. Yeah, I can imagine that's scary. We've gotten a lot of calls for that, like where deep fryers get caught on fire, or they crack, spill oil all over the place. Had a lot of issues with like dish machines and the tanks breaking, bursting, things like that, shorting out. Yeah, all kinds of problems. I hear a lot of things. Ian puts on a good review. All right, I'll check out his channel. Have to see what he's all about. Let's see. When I was a kid, speaking of fires in the kitchen, we were at home. It was my two oldest sisters and myself. I'm the youngest of the family. Probably could never have guessed that I'm the baby of the family. But anyways, the oldest sister was cooking and making us breakfast, and toast got stuck in the toaster, and it actually got so hot and got like the breadcrumbs and the trays. I don't know. Caught on fire, and flames were shooting out of the toaster, and were like catching the cupboard that it was under on fire. And so we had to extinguish that before the parents got home. Tried to hide the evidence, but not good enough. That was scary. I was probably, I don't know, 6 or 7 at the time. Let's see here. All right. All right, my laptop is too far away. I can't read these questions here. All right. Recently, I got the lotion. Oh, the Lutu Paul S2 is very good sounding dongle deck. Have I tried it? No, I have not heard the S2. I've heard really good things about it, though. I haven't actually heard any of their products, but I would love to get some in for review at some point. Let's see here. When you reviewed the Burson Playmate 2, did you review with the stock op amps? And would you say the Conductor 3X is worth it over the Playmate 2, considering the huge price difference? Okay, the op amps, I did try 2 of them. They included 2 different op amps. They included stocks and Vivids, if I remember correctly. That was a slight difference. I really don't recall the specifics of them. Sorry, I wish I did. If I mentioned it in a review, then it stood out. But I did get they did send the op amps. The one was red and the other one was black. Or had black, anyway, I can't remember. But anyways, they were tall, skinny things. As far as the difference between the Playmate 2 and the Conductor, if I remember correctly, they're fairly similar in house sound. The only differences are like the extras that come with the conductor, and the different abilities. I don't really think sonically you're going to get too much of a difference, but it's been a long time since I heard either. Sorry about that. I wish I had a better answer for you on that. Let's see here. Do I unplug my cables to my headphones and amp every time after use? I do, actually. The only times that I don't is if I know I'm going to go directly back to it. So like if I'm have 5 or 6 of them out and I'm comparing, obviously I leave them in, but every night when I put everything away, I do take my cables out. Just to add in, this question will probably come to, I turn the volumes down on my amplifiers, then I power it down. If I have it in preamp mode, I'll switch that everything before I power everything down. I do power down my amps and my DACs every night. And let's see here. Unless I'm letting something run through overnight, like sometimes when I'm doing a bunch of things, like I have to do my burn-in process because I do run all the products through a certain time frame, whether or not they need it. I'll leave things running overnight. But if I'm not going to be using it for a while, I do shut everything down. Okay, so that was just for bonus. Free. That was free. Let's see here. I'm sorry I missed the first part of your stream. Something happened. Something about a fire. Oh, no, we were just talking about jobs and things that have happened on jobs. You didn't miss much, like 2 minutes, just talking about being a chef and being working in the job that I work, things like that. Let's see. One problem with DACs and amps is the same few companies release new stuff every 12 minutes, whether they need to or not. Absolutely. There are, and you get that also in headphones and IEMs too. There's a lot of companies that are just like, it's like they have a big old round table, with like 20 people, and each one of them has an idea. And so they're like, we'll run with that idea, and then tomorrow we'll start your idea, and then tomorrow we'll start your idea, and then they just keep, instead of taking all the ideas, putting them together and working and building one quality product, they pop out one like every week. And unfortunately, they all sound alike. The majority of them do. Let's see here. That's why I like the fact you review a bunch of stuff from different companies instead of the same few. Yeah, I'm actually kind of, it's weird. Like, I only want to review stuff that really interests me, but I also understand there's some stuff that interests other people. So, obviously you have to review the hyped stuff or the stuff that's going to be interested, things that people are talking about. But then there's these other items that are kind of like no one ever reviews that are interesting to me. And those are the ones that I like to throw in and review. And you do get different flavors, different perspectives, and different, things like that based on that. Because if everybody's reviewing the same thing, you're just listening, it's just going to get boring and stale and stagnant in the community. And we're all going to have the same thing on our desk. And then there's not going to be any need for a reviewer because we all have the same situation. Let's see. You should always plug into an amp when it is on and unplug it when it is on. Yes. I did that once many years ago. I accidentally hit the power switch and then plugged it in, and I had some sort of headphone. I can't remember. This was long. Before I was a reviewer, some sort of headphone in, and the volume was like super high too, and I about blew up my headphones and the amplifier. Yeah, so make sure that everything is turned down and all that. Also, don't be just plugging and unplugging things real fast. Like, that's dangerous for it also. All right, so let's see here. Are you in the system to get the Tripo and Olinas for review? Hope so. Haven't been contacted yet regarding them, but I hope to get the Olinas in for review. What is my preference? Headphones and Iems. Okay, so headphones. We will start with closed-back headphones. My closed-back headphones choices are the Mr. Speakers Ether C Original and the Odyssey LCD2 Closed. The open-back headphones are the... This is tough, but we will go with the Rawson Audio Rad Zero. I really do enjoy those. And then also the Hi-Fiman Ananda and Hi-Fiman Aria Stealth. Really, really like those. And as bonus, singular freebie, the Sennheiser HD660S. The Iems. I really enjoy the Fearless Audio Roland, the CTM DaVinci 10, and let's see, let's do some more budget stuff. We'll go with Tin Hi-Fi T2, the Katori Dauntless, the Moondrop Kato, and the 7 Hertz Timeless, and the Moondrop Blessing 2. There. That's enough to keep you busy for a little while. Let's see here. It would be great if someone came out with a DAC that had EQ. It could be an app or something aside from a couple of little portable units. I don't think any desktop units. Well, you have the RME ADI2. You have the there's a couple others out there that do some of the SMSLs, and I think a topping do have like presets for EQ and not necessarily full EQ. The Monoprice THX AAA 788, and I think the new one has the PEQ equalizers. There's quite a few out there. Also, there were Burson had EQ. The VMV A2 that's down here for the speaker amp, and DAC that has EQ. They're out there. They're just different. But if you want full on EQ, you would have to go with like RME ADI2, or I think Benchmark has that. But I'm sure there's more out there. I just haven't experienced them because I'm not really into EQing things. Okay, let's see here. Try getting the Austrian Audio X65's unbelievable resolution for the money. Best headphone under 500. Best headphone under 500. That's quite the claim. Austrian Audio, isn't that like the group of guys from AKG that branched off? Be interesting. I haven't been able to get anything from them, but thank you for the suggestion. I'll check them out. Let's see here. How much do I believe in EQ? Just answered that. I really don't believe in EQ. I think it's a tool to kind of just figure out, hey, there's like this peak here or this valley here. It's kind of, what's going on. It's like a tool to figure that out. I really don't see it as being a useful thing to actually fix something. And the reason I say that is when you boost or lower things, you do change the actual frequency responses. So when you boost one thing, you're going to have to fix something else. And so you're just messing up the whole tonal balance. If something needs to be EQ'd to sound good, then it's not a good product, in my opinion. Let's see here. Would you say the GSX Mini has been your favorite headphone amplifier? Yes. I absolutely love the GSX Mini. Use it every single day, and it works with all gear. Haven't found anything yet that it doesn't work with. Let's see. I want to thank you for reviewing the ADV sound brand. The Furai remains one of my favorite IEMs. That thing is awesome. I'm surprised there are so few reviews out there. Any idea why basically no one else covers them? I have no idea why nobody else covers them. They are actually really, really good. There's so many quality ADV products, and I highly recommend them. They're really good customer service, and they are very thoughtful, quick, and responsive. And I think their prices are very competitive, and they do things a little differently. They're not afraid to kind of mix and match some technologies and use some other things that some companies don't. They're not one of those we're just going to do it like everybody else type of brands. Yeah, so check out ADV. I really like them. Plus their replacement cable, kind of pricey, but man, that thing's awesome. It's really, really good for a 2-pin. Okay, let's see here. Have you tried the shit Lokias? No, I have not. It's a little bit more like tone control, so that might be interesting to mix, especially if you use it with something like speakers. I do find that tone controls come in handy in that regard. And let's see here. Austrian audio is pretty good. Well, that's good to know. Sorry. Oh, yeah, no worries. No, I knew what you meant. Let's see here. I think of EQ as a crutch. That's an interesting way to look at it. I think a lot of people do depend on it a little too much, and even reviewers. And I think that if you really depend on it, you'll start hearing things in gear that isn't really necessarily there. And then you'll start tweaking things when it doesn't necessarily need to be tweaked. You just have to get used to it. And, hold on. I lost my feed. What'd I do? Bear with me a moment. I hit something on my computer and my live stream disappeared. Gotta love it when you do something stupid as a YouTuber. Let's see here. What did I do? Hang on. Don't worry, I'm a professional. I've been doing YouTube for 3 years. I know what I'm doing. Come on. There we go. All right. That was strange. Because I have my laptop in my lap, because where I had it set up, I was like, oh, I'm all set up for this live stream tonight. I'm good to go. I'm not going to have any problems. I can read it from there. And once I start and the comments start coming, I can't read the comments whatsoever. They're like, it's too far away. So I had to move it to my lap, and I must have closed out YouTube or something, and so my whole screen went blank on my laptop. That was weird. Okay, let's see here. Back to live chat. All right, we were at the EQ as a crutch. Yeah, I do think that a lot of even reviewers use EQ as a crutch, and they become dependent on it, and so they'll start hearing issues in gear, and they'll start tweaking things, or even before they put the gear on and start listening to music, they'll just automatically change it to their preferred EQ. They'll look at the graph and go, okay, it's going to need this, 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 and they'll just tweak it and then listen to it, and they'll be like, okay, we're good, or it sounds bad, instead of actually listening to it straight up as stock and getting used to that sound before they make the adjustments. That's just my thought. All right, let's see here. I don't EQ any of my headphones either, but at the same time, impressed with the implementation in the Mojo 2. I've been trying various things with my different headphones to great effect. Mojo 2 looks like it's very interesting. Might be a little pricey, but I would be curious to how it sounds and how they implement things. And I have used EQ. I've used some presets. I tried the not the Audivana, the Audeze link stuff that they have, and that was kind of interesting to see the different ways that you can implement that into Audivana, which I use for my music management, and it was kind of unique. I tried it with various things. It's not like I never use EQ or tone controls or anything like that. I do dabble with it, but it's not something that I want to become dependent on or use in my reviews. And I am pretty much, I am a purist, so EQ is, as I said, a tool to use, not something to be dependent upon. All right, let's see here. Do check it out if you get a chance. Okay, let's see here. Could you tell us about how you first got into audiophile gear or audio gear? Sure. So I've always been involved in music and in sound in some way my whole life. I grew up in a pastor's home, and so I was always at church, And I always loved to just kind of fiddle around at the sound booth. Normally, because it was cool as a little kid just to move the things on the soundboard, tweak things and make the sound guy go nuts when he comes in on Sunday morning. And as I got older, as I got into teenage years, started to play around with that. And then my dad became a traveling evangelist where we traveled all the East Coast of America. And I got to do the recordings for our group and things like that. When we were home at our home church, I would work with the sound booth guy, and I learned how to take the recordings, which were on tape at that time, and transition them to other tapes, make duplicates. Also, then we transitioned to CDs, and I would, edit the recording, so it was only the sermon, and put it on disc, put it on tape or whatever. And then as time went along, I got to run the sound booth, set up microphones, things like that. And I've always been doing that ever since. And as time evolved, you learn how to do various things, either go from analog to digital and including various things, uploading things up onto to be able to do podcasting for sermons and all that kind of stuff. As far as my musical listening goes, I can't sing worth a darn. I can't carry a tune, even if my life depended on it. If someone told me you have to sing the song in the right key and on note, my life would be over. But my mom played piano. My sisters are very talented musically. My dad's talented music. A lot of my relatives, aunts, uncles are very talented musically. For some reason, it just left me behind. I tried learning some instruments, didn't really click with me. Some of it I gave up on, and some of it I just had no interest. And others, it just didn't touch me. And then the thing that I always had was a love for music. I just always had music playing, whether it was in a car or, whatever. I just listened to music all the time, and it just was there. And I always desired to have the purest, most accurate and natural type of sound. I was always looking for what it really sounded like in the studio or in the recording, venues, instead of being like all digitized and tuned and all of that. And enhanced. I always wanted it to be the most realistic and accurate reproduction. And so that's when I really started to explore gear that was focused on that, which would give me the most natural and accurate reproduction. And that's what an audiophile is searching, is an accurate reproduction of sound. That's how I got started in it. And because I didn't really have a ton of money for the longest time, I just was always in mega budget world, like the $10 stuff that you could get at Walmart or Iems, Kmart, whatever kind of stores you had back in the day, or you got free with headphone or with cell phones when they started coming and things like that. And then once I finally decided I want something better than this, that's when I started to explore more. And once I started to realize you can hear differently with even just the smallest of adjustments, that's when I started my channel, and ever since then I've been journeying with you all. All right, let's see here. All right, Ian, thank you for swinging by. Yeah, I saw that about HBB. Make sure that if you are using Google and stuff, use the two-step verifications. I know that it's a pain in the backside to use, but it's got to be safer than anything that, so just be careful what you're doing out there. It's scary to see sites getting hacked and people aren't. Yeah. I don't know exactly what happened there. I'm not saying that he did anything intentionally. I'm sure he's not, because I'm sure that Chris is very careful in what he does. But as far as people being able to just go in and hack things, we got to take precautions. It's just our responsibility as to ourselves, to our families, and to our friends, and obviously to our viewers, to be as careful as possible. All right, let's see here. Hopefully, HBB will be able to get his channel up and running again quickly. Hopefully, it was nothing too serious, and he doesn't lose a whole lot of information. My cats are pretty, thank you. Yes, he's in the window right now. Maybe he'll make an appearance later. I have three cats. One's over here sleeping. One is causing problems. I hear him down over here somewhere. And then the other one's over here by the window. Since I'm a cat guy, I know you're all right. Love cats. Yeah, cats are great. Three of them we have in the house, and they all three have different characteristics. They all have different demeanors. It's really kind of cool to see how you can interact with them. Each one is different. Like Milo is very laid back, mellow, and he's definitely my cat. He's very much cuddly. If I'm sitting on the couch, he wants to be right there. He doesn't mind my wife, but he doesn't really cuddle with her. And he's just very chill. He's definitely me. He follows me around like a puppy dog. And then about 2-3 o'clock in the morning, all of a sudden he gets this weird extra gear and he does laps around the house. It's really weird. I don't know if he still does it because I'm not up at 2 o'clock in the morning anymore. And then Opie, who's the red one, the orange tabby, is very much anybody's friend. He's just a big old go-lucky, happy cat. Except for when we first started the stream, he was grumpy. He didn't want to be on camera. But normally he's just uber friendly, and he's just into everything. And he doesn't realize that he's massively huge. And then Simon, who's the tiger, is the curious one. And he is constantly just getting in trouble. You'll be watching TV and he'll just walk in front of it, get right in the middle of the screen and stand like on the sound bar and just like park himself and watch TV with you. And you're like, dude, I need that TV. Can you get out of the way? He likes to get right in your face and sit right here on your chest. And now he's a cat that weighs about 17 pounds. So he's just sitting right here on your chest with his face right here. And he likes to curl and get right on your shoulder. I mean, he's just a crazy cat. Love my cats. All right. So let's see. Do you use DSD? And if so, can you notice a difference between using it or not? Yes, actually, I do use DSD. It's not the only file bitrate that I use. I do use pretty much anything. I'll go from MP3, FLAC, DSD, all the different DSDs, MQA, doesn't matter. And can you hear a difference? Yes and no. It depends on how good the recording is, depends on how good your gear is. It depends on the track. I mean, it's very kind of dependent. Sometimes DSD and MQA will sound fantastic compared to the other stuff. And then you listen to it on another track and you're like, the lower stuff sounds better. So it's just kind of up in the air. I'm not 100% sold on any of the bit rates. It's really weird. I've been called all kinds of things. I've been called a employee of Meridian and Tidal and MQA. I've been called a DSD shill and an MQA shill. I've been told that I'm, all this and that because I use that and because I use Tidal. I use Tidal because it sounds the best to me of the streaming services. It's just my preference. And I use MQA and DSD only when they're available. I don't go searching for them and seeking them out and only listening to those files. If there's, like on Tidal, if you do a search for a song, you can get 5 different bitrate versions of the same song mastered the same way. And I will listen to them all and choose which one I like. I'm not going to just go and immediately click on the MQA DSD. To me, it's more about the reproduction and the accuracy. It doesn't matter really what the bit rate is. Hopefully that answered your question. How's your life nowadays? Have any plans for this year upcoming? Yes, actually. Life's it's in transition. It's busy, 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 as I mentioned in the beginning of the stream. Swapping over from working third shift for 7 years to go into days has been quite the adjustment, not only for work and for personal life, but also for the YouTube channel. I don't get near as much time to listen to music and to record videos and things like that. So I've had to slow things down a little bit and take advantage of it. And then we've had some family, some deaths in the family that we've had to deal with. We've also had some other family issues that we've had to resolve. So it's just been hectic. But you know what? Take it day by day, take it hour by hour, minute by minute. And my Lord and Savior is with me, and he's going to guide me. And that's all that matters. And just do the best that you can to honor him. All right, so let's see here. As far as plans for the year, I did mention that in the last stream, I believe. And I think it was, I want to get to 15,000 subs. Right now, I'm really struggling just to get to 9. But I wanted to increase the watch times of you all. You know, when you watch a video, I wanted to get the percentage up higher. I wanted to get the percentage a little bit higher for some of the other things in the for the channel. I would love to review a few more speakers. Would like to review some more headphones and different gear and things like that. I don't really have anything major set up, so I just kind of play it as we go along. Let's see here. Is there a price limit where you won't buy something before you hear it? It depends on the gear, and it depends on the brand. It's kind of like buying shoes. So like if I've heard the product before, or if I've used the product before and I had a good experience at a different price point, then I would probably take a chance on it more at a higher price. Whereas if it's like the first time ever and I've never heard it, it wouldn't matter what the price point was. I'm going to be a little skeptical. Now, if it's like dirt cheap, you know, like if it, to me, dirt cheap is like $20, then I would just take the chance. It wouldn't matter what the brand was or anything. But if we're talking like $1,000, I'd probably, I'm going to really research it. And I would prefer to hear it first. But yeah, that's when it becomes a little skeptical. Now, if it's something that like a brand that I have had no luck with in anything that I've heard, and then, you know, I'm like, I haven't liked anything that they've sent me, and then someone says, "Yeah, I get this $5,000 DAC or amp or, you know, or headphone from this company," I'll be like, "Can you send it to me first?" That's kind of the way I look at it. It's not necessarily a price point, so to say. It's more of what it is and what is my past experiences, type of thing. Let's see here. Are you going to review the Tantrum Ola? Just got it in. Be interesting. I'm curious about it. And yeah, be curious about that to see if that will come in. And actually, it hasn't come in yet, but I am supposed to get one. There, we'll put it that way. Or is it Ole? Ola? Ola, probably Ola. All right. Really got into Iems over the last couple of years. Am I crazy for almost preferring them over headphones? No, absolutely not. In fact, it's kind of strange. Like, there'll be times when I prefer Iems over headphones and speakers over headphones. And headphones are kind of like the odd child out. Not that I don't like them, it's just I prefer the other two. And then other days I'm more about the headphones and not so much for Iems and speakers. I think it just depends on your preference for music and your style of like your lifestyle, and also what you're looking for in reproduction. I'm not going to say one is better than the other and one is definitely the best over them all. I do think that each one offers unique differences. in the approach, and it just depends on what you're seeking and searching for. I think for the overall presentation, if you want to get to the most realistically close to a natural reproduction, speakers will be ultimately the finishing point, but IEMs can get you really close to that, especially now with the way that they're transitioning, and headphones can in certain regards. But I actually think that I'm going to sound like this weird wackadoodle dude here, but I actually do believe that IEMs can reproduce soundstage, especially with depth and layering, better than headphones. And I know probably the haters are going to come out in the comments for saying that. I understand it if you disagree. But I actually do believe that. Listening to all the IEMs I've heard and listening to speakers and headphones, IEMs have a way of presenting a soundstage that is very unique because it puts you like right in the middle, and you can really get a strong sense of things around you in placements and imaging. Yeah. I'm not saying that headphones can't do that, but IEMs do it a lot often also as well. So no, I don't think you're crazy for it. All right, let's see here. Showing my age here, but the first set of real headphones were a set of realistic Nova 40s. What would that be for you? My first real set of headphones, well, let's see. Disregarding House of Marley's, and anything prior to that, Monsters and the cheapy Sony Walkmans and things like that. So things prior to that. Yes, I did have a tape deck Sony Walkman with those one wire headphones that came, and they had the really rough foam headbands, and then when you would take them off, your hair would get stuck in the, setting all those aside, the first real pair of headphones that I got were probably the Barodynamic Custom Studios. Let's see here. Realistic Nova 40s. I've never heard of them. I'm going to have to research those. I'm going to have to see what those look like. What do you consider classic in your collection? Collection headphones, IEMs, speakers, or music? That's a good question. Or are you talking classic as vintage, or classic as in classical music? Classics. Classic's an interesting word to put there. Let's see here. Hello from LA. What's your cat names? The orange one is Opie. The white and gray one is Milo, and the tiger is Simon. Okay, let's see here. How to handle the itch of listening high quality audio when broken AF? Well, the easiest way to do that is to get one of your friends who has like a family plan. Try to see if you can link onto that. Let's see, not a hater, but headphone, soundstage, and imaging is better, but IEMs are the best closback. Depends on what you're talking about. Depends on what IEMs and what headphones. See, I beg to differ. Depends on where you draw the line. And so I totally, I'm not saying you're wrong. And I'm not saying that I'm right. So there's certain ones that can do it really, really well. Let's see here. Of your IEMs, what would you say has the best soundstage under $200? That's tough. Best soundstage under $200. That is a really good question, because there's a lot of them that have really good soundstage. I don't know. I'm going to have to think about that one. What brand excites you the most this year? What brand excites me the most this year? That is a really good question as well. I'm really, really curious to see about the new Mytex that are coming out. I would really like to hear those. I'm really curious. I'm going to go speakers, what Wharfdale comes out with, since the D310s are being discontinued. I'd be curious to see what they're going to replace those with. I'm really curious in regards to some of the different IEMs that are coming out, like the new Shure. And I'm curious about some of the unique collaborations that we're going to be getting also. All right, so best soundstage under $200. How about I name a few that have really good soundstage? We'll start with budget one, Tin Hi-Fi T2, the Moondrop. I can't use the Blessing 2 because that's $300. We did put $200 limit. Let's see. Struggling here. Moondrop Kato has a really good soundstage. The 7Hz Timeless. Let's see what else has a really good soundstage. We'll go old school. Blonde 03 does a really good job with the soundstage for a budget. Those are about the only ones I can think of off the top of my head. All right, let's see. How is the soundstage on the Dauntless? Soundstage on Dauntless is actually really good. It's not like super mega wide, but it's actually really good, especially for like monitoring purposes. So things are like, what it does really well is depth and layering. So you get like all the separation and the imaging and the good depth and layering, and it has an accurate soundstage as far as like placement. So you can, when you're in a venue, you can use your imagination to be like, okay, I'm in a smaller setting or a larger setting. It does a really good job in that regard. I really like, you could throw the Dauntless in that price point. It's not as quite as wide as some of those others I mentioned, but it is probably more accurate and true. You could also put the Titan S in there. But again, the Titan S is very similar to like the Dauntless is in that regard. Whereas like it's more of the accurate in size. I mean, depth and layering and imaging is more of the top point than overall width and immersiveness. Okay. If you had to choose your best IEM or your best headphone, the best headphone right now is the Rawson Audio Rad Zero. The best IEM would be the CTM DaVinci 10. And the Fearless Audio Roland would be really close behind, and it would depend on what I'm using them for. But I would probably lean DaVinci 10. All right, let's see here. I think some IEMs can have insanely good imaging. I just got the Monarch Mark IIs. My LCDX is about the same for imaging. Yeah, see, that's why I haven't heard the Monarch Mark II. I really wanted to, and I've heard it has exceptionally good imaging. And that's where I think IEMs have really taken a next step. For a couple of years, they were kind of like, yeah, they're all right, and they're kind of over here, over there. You know, they weren't precise and accurate. And now their manufacturers are really getting to the point where they can really get IEMs to be super pinpoint and very good with depth and layering in the imaging. And you can also get very good accuracy in like natural soundstage widths and being able to be enveloped properly. Sometimes headphones can be a little exaggerated in width, and they won't quite sound completely accurate to the venue. They will be a little bit enhanced in size. It's really cool sounding, but sometimes they make you use your imagination a little too much, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Yeah, we mentioned about HBB. YouTube channel. It's kind of a bummer. Hopefully it's not something super serious and he's able to get up and running really quick. Do make sure that you're being as proactive as you are with two-step verifications with your Google accounts, and trying to take every precaution because hackers are bountiful right now. All right, let's see here. Final Audio A4000 has the best soundstage. I disagree. Final A4000 has an exaggerated soundstage. It's very stretched, and it is not accurate, depending, because what happens is with the A4000, when you're listening to it, if it is a small, intimate soundstage, like if you're listening to a jazz club recording, it still is stretching the sound, and it's making it sound large, even though you know that venue is small. And when it puts things out super wide, when you get into a venue, a recording that is like a stadium recording, sometimes they will sound like a fishbowl. Things will kind of have reverbs, and when they won't sound correct and natural. So I disagree that the A4000 has the best soundstage in IEM. Let's see here. Is the T2 that good? I'm trying to figure out whether I should get the CRN, the T2, or the Leia. What do you think I should get? Mostly listen to a lot of female vocals. I'd get the T2. The Leia is not bad when it comes to female vocals. Leia's a little bit warmer. Reviews coming, by the way, on that. T2 is a little more technical, but it does have a more brighter leaning sound signature than the Leia. But overall, the T2 is more balanced and cohesive, and is a lot more neutral all the way across, whereas the Leia is a little bit more V-shaped. And then the what's the other one you mentioned? The CRN is way too peaky, way too elevated, and harsh. And yeah, no, not a fan of the CRN. Sounds artificial. All right, let's see here. Had the A4000. I didn't think the soundstage lived up to the hype. The frequency wasn't my favorite. Yeah, I was not a fan of the A4000. Check out my website. There's a review of the A4000. So the honestaudiophile.com. You can see my A4000 review over there. Let's see. Are you planning on doing an award type of video at the end of the year? Probably not. Never have. I don't know. I'm really not a huge fan of those. There's only like one reviewer that does a really good job, and I will never, ever be able to beat him. And that's MKHB, or Marcus Brownlee, or Marquez, whatever his name is. The guy that does cell phones. I can't beat him, so I'm not going to do an award show. I don't know. I'll have to think about it. I guess I have 9 months left in the year to do it. I'll think about it. Let's see. Thanks for being so accommodating with all the questions. Going to have to run, but it's been great. Always appreciate it. Hey, you're very welcome. If you have a question, drop it in the comments down below, and I'll try to answer it later afterwards if you think of something. All right. How many megapixels do headphones need to produce good imaging? Megapixels? You mean megawatts? Because isn't megapixels are for cameras? I think you mean megawatts. Or oh wait, that's a joke. I'm sorry. Okay, never mind. They need a lot. You need a ton. Probably, yeah. 4,200 or higher. Okay, let's see. Have you tried the JVC HAFXD ones? Nope, haven't heard them. I've always been curious about them. People talk about them, that they are fantastic, but I've never heard them. Have you tried? Let's see. The recording has the most to do with sounds. Absolutely, totally agree. There's so many different ways that a recording can be mastered and be recorded. The way the microphones are set up, that really involves the sound stage. And even with you can have a recording done, let's say at Red Rocks, and you can have 2 live recordings done at Red Rock, and one of them will sound like it's in a fishbowl and one won't. And you'll get the crowd and you can actually hear the crowd. It sounds like a crowd. And it all depends on how it's mastered and recorded, where the microphone's placed, things like that. So that's a very good point. But also gear influences that too. Your playback gear will in fact impact that as well, and will help to resolve the details and make it sound accurate and true as well. It's a good point. Let's see here. What coffee am I drinking these days? It's a coffee by Irving Farms. I don't remember the name of it. It's a little blue and white bag. That's all I know. I don't remember what one is, but it's had chocolate and caramel, like grapefruit and cherry. It's actually really, really good. I think it's cherry, something like that. But it's made by Irving Farms. But this is not coffee, obviously. All right, let's see here. Did I miss anything? What's your opinion on LG devices that have DTS X3D surround? My ZSM Pro soundstage sounds wider, but sometimes sounds too wide. Okay, well, I haven't heard an LG device, and the last one I had was the LG V30. And I don't believe it had the DTS X3D. Yeah, sometimes when you add in like the DTS type stuff, or the weird one that Tidal has, I can't remember what it's called, 3D imaging or whatever. That one, you will get that because it's DSPing basically, and it's enhancing the soundstage, and you'll actually get it with IFI with their 3D spacing, and it's like boosting and like pushing out, and sometimes, because the recording is meant to be coming across in a certain way, and then it's falsely, basically enhancing it, it's stretching it out and making it sound artificial. So that's why you would hear that. I don't normally use those. I find them to be gimmicks. Okay, so let's see. Some say the ER2XR elevated bass just destroys the frequency. Is that true? No. That little bit of elevated bass is not excessive, in my opinion. What it does is it adds a little bit of body, a little bit of impact. It is a little bit warm, and depending on what source you're using, it can sound a little bloated. But in my opinion, no, it's not destroying the frequency response in any way. You want something that's destroying the frequency response, look at the TRI i3 Pro. That thing's far from balanced. Okay, let's see here. After years of different headphones, different types, all kinds of sound, I ended up with the Harmonic Dyne Zeus, my favorite of all time. Have you tried it? Yeah, actually, I did try the Zeus. I did a review of it on the channel last year, maybe the year before. Zeus is pretty good. It has a unique presentation to things. Doesn't quite have the soundstage that it got hyped up on, in my opinion, but on the right sources and with the right music, it is very fun and enjoyable. I don't find it to be anything exceptional compared to other gear, but I also don't find it to be like bad either. I find it to be very pleasing and a comparable headphone. Let's see here. I have a Hi-Fi-Man Ananda. What is a good close back that would complement that? I would say LCD 2 closed, Mr. Speaker's Ether C. Yeah, there you go. Let's see here. If you want something warmer, a little bit thicker, you could go with a Fostex T60RP Argon from Mod House. I have not reviewed the 400 SE. I did the 400i 2020 and the 4XX and another 400. Let's see. Those are the inexpensive stealth magnet ones. I'm wondering if I need an amp with them or if I can drive them with an iPhone or an Apple DAC. Planar, you're going to want an amplifier of some sort. Even if it's a somewhat budget one, you're going to want to get some power. I highly doubt that a dongle would be able to push it, at least efficiently. You're probably going to have a very lackluster sound trying to push those with it. Let's see here. Hope I'm doing well. Member Barry, yes, I'm doing very well, thank you. Considering the situations and all that's been going on. no complaints. Life's good. All right, let's see here. HD800S Soundstage King. What is your biggest soundstaging headphone? HD800S has a good soundstage, but in my opinion, it's not accurate. And it does what we've been talking about previously, which is it artificially stretches the stage. And so the 800S, in my opinion, when you listen to it, it will always try to make things sound large. And it can't like conform to the different sizes of venues. And I find it to be a very pleasing, very engaging, a very well done headphone, except for the way that it does the soundstage. It's always trying to press things wide. It's always trying to stretch it. And let's see here. No, I don't want to hide the chat. I want to show the chat. All right. Sorry. Hit the button again. Don't worry. I'm so good at streaming, man. I'm like the best. You know, anyways. All right. What is, let's see here. I got to get back to my 8. Okay. So what's your favorite soundstaging headphone? For me, the best sounding soundstage headphones would be, see, I would actually put the HiFiMan Aria Stealth in the same situation, especially the original Aria, and the same thing with the 800S. It stretches it too much and it's a little artificial, even though it's a very fun, very engaging. The best soundstaging headphones for me were those stacks that I reviewed. Man, those things were awesome with soundstage. Cost 95Xs were also incredibly good with soundstage. Ross and Red Zero is really good, but it's a different type of stage. It's very accurate as far as like true to whatever the size is. That's what I really enjoy. But for an overall presentation of accuracy of sound, I would have to go with either the Cost 95Xs or the stacks that I reviewed. Those things were incredibly good. All right, let's see here. Any suggestions to remove hiss sounds from an IEM? Is it because the IEM is sensitive? Yeah, it's normally because they're sensitive IEM, and it's also because your gear is giving too much of output impedance. The easiest thing to do is get an IFI IE match dongle. You can get them in 3.5 or 2.5, depending on what size you need. And you just plug it into your output of your headphone, and then you plug your IE or head of your amp, and then you plug your IEM into it. And it has they have a little switch on it that will go from balanced to unbalanced, so you can still use the microphone. Also, you can switch for your sensitivities of your IE. In fact, I might have one handy. Look out, Eric. Yeah, so it'll look like this. And on this end, you'll have it so that it's kind of hard to see. It's for balanced or not balanced, depending on whether or not you need to use a microphone. And then on this side, you will select whether or not you need to, how sensitive you need it. So this end goes into your amplifier, and then your IEM plugs into that. Easiest way to fix hiss on IEMs. All right, let's see here. Let's see. Hope I'm doing well. Doing very well, Jay. Thank you for asking. Best coffee I've ever had is from Hoboken Coffee Roasters in Guthrie, Oklahoma. You can order it online. Awesome. I'll have to check them out. I've never heard of them. I'm on a little coffee club and trade coffee and get sent coffee every 2 weeks. I get sent a different bag, and they use all local, like all roasters here in the U.S. It's kind of cool. I will definitely check out the Guthrie or the Hoboken Coffee Roasters in Guthrie. Definitely check them out. All right, let's see here. Anyone going to Can Jam New York City? Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to make that. Hope to be able to get to one of the shows around here in the Midwest sometime this year. I am also tossing around an idea up here for a local show around me that I would be able to see if I can get a local venue to put on for us. Trying to figure out all the details. I'll keep you guys posted if anything comes up. so that anybody in the neighborhood would be able to swing by and say hi and listen to some gear. All right, what's the best front staging headphone? Front staging headphone, that's interesting. What's the budget? I'm very limited on it. And when you say front staging, you're meaning for like a monitor while you're on stage, probably, right? If you could clarify that for me. All right, let's see here. To help with IEM sensitivity, try not to offend the IEM. Oh, yeah, you got to use good music. You got to know what your IEM likes the music for and what volume. That's a good point. Let's see. I think you liked the soundstage on the Odyssey LCD X 2021s. Yes, I did. That had a very good and accurate, true soundstage as well. Hi-Fi Man Ananda also has a very good stage. Let's see here. I got the LCDX 2021 recently, hoping to pair it with the Mojo 2. That might be an interesting pairing. I haven't heard the Mojo 2, but it'd probably be a fairly decent pairing. Most overrated coffee is Starbucks. I have to be careful here because if anybody from my company is watching this stream and I say that I agree with you, Starbucks is one of our biggest customers. So I actually don't like Starbucks coffee as far as actual coffee. Their mixed drinks I can tolerate, but I don't drink Starbucks around the house unless I have to. But my wife is a massive, huge Starbucks person. But I used to love Starbucks. It used to be the only thing I would drink because I would get it for free. All right, let's see here. Oh, cool. They roast the beans themselves. That's cool. That's the way I like it. That's awesome when you can find a local roaster as well. Let's see here. We had a great local meet on Long Island a couple years back. Awesome. Oh, you mean music coming from in front of you? So like you're sitting back, you're monitoring at a sound booth or something, and music coming at you. For monitoring purposes, I'm very limited in that, but I actually like the AKG K275s in that regard. They do a very good job of giving the inaccurate stage for that for monitoring. As far as more expensive gear and close back, right? That's what you were mentioning. Does it have to be a closed back or can it be an open back? Open back, Sennheiser HD660S is really good in that regard. The Odyssey LCD X21 is really good at that. The Rossen Rad Zero is really good at that. Close back wise, you got the LCD 2 close, that's really good, and so is the Ether C. Pete's from Berkeley's, California. That's some good stuff. Lavazza coffee, I've only had once, and I actually really liked it. It was like a very rich, kind of more like a thick type of taste. I really enjoyed that. K1000 for music in front. I've never heard K1000, but that would be awesome. I want to hear one big time. Thank you, Andrew, for that. I've never actually heard a K1000. I want to hear it though. That I hear they have that interesting, very much music coming at you type of soundstage. Any other questions? These are good. I like just jammering about what I know, which is limited. But hey, I like to just let people get to know me, and get to know you guys also. K612 soundstage is good. That's true. The 612 does have a good stage. It's a little bit more rounded. The 612 is versus just coming straight at you. Use the K1000 with subwoofer. That'd be interesting. I've actually never used a headphone with a subwoofer. I should try it. Quincy Joneses are very wide. Yes. Yes, they are. After all the cans you've heard, is the Ananda still one of the best buys in the price range? Yes. I do think that the Ananda is an excellent value for its price. I do wish it would come down a little bit when Hi-Fi-Man has it on sale. Is the time to snag one. The Anandas are fantastic. What is my current favorite headphone? That's the Rawson Red Zero. Another headphone that did soundstage really well was the Meze Empyrean Elite. That was another one that did it really well. But the regular Empyrean does it very well too, as well. Quincy Jones does have treble. The 612s do have that treble presentation. They're very much borderline for me. They're like to the point of, depending on what I'm listening to, I can't listen to it with the 612s. That's even some Quincy Jones music I can't even listen to on 612s. All right, let's see here, and that's really sad. Let's see here. Have we gotten more into speakers at all? I have the Wharfdale D310s right behind us. That review is going to be coming soon. I have the Sony SSCS5s. That review will be coming. The Monoprice MM5Rs. That review will be coming. That's going to be a while, though. And then, of course, I did review the Kanto Yumi so long time ago. I have a subwoofer, but I can't figure out how to review a subwoofer. Those are all the speakers I have at the moment, but I do want to review more. So if anybody wants to send some my way or let me know how to get some, more than interested. I would prefer to keep it desktop. I really don't want to do the tower thing. Not quite yet. I'd prefer to stay kind of grow slowly with desktop type stuff. All right, let's see here. Audio Technica R70Xs. Those I hear have really good stage. Heard them. Was it the 70s? Heard one of those RXs. They do have pretty good stage. The one that I heard, I don't remember which model it was. Pretty accurate, pretty decent. Let's see here. Edition XX. XS is now in direct competition with the Ananda. That's what I've heard. Haven't heard the XS. Want to get one in for a review at some time. But is it going to be as comfortable? Because it's got that awful, god-awful Hi-Fi-Man headband that I can't stand. All right, let's see here. XS is basically an Ananda with better bass. Now, that's interesting because I actually don't find the Ananda not to have good bass. I actually like the bass a lot on the Ananda. Let's see. You need to try the Kef Q150s. They sound great and go on sale for $300. Okay. I definitely will try those Q150s. And I'm assuming that's a pair. $300 for a pair. Have I tried the SRH 840s? I heard them. A friend of mine has those. Never heard them just straight up listening to music. I've only heard them when we were setting up speakers using sine waves. So can't really say I've truly heard them. Focal speakers on my someday list. Yeah, those look interesting. I've heard focals at the audio shows, and they have a very interesting presentation from what I remember. Let's see here. Headband is terrible on the XS. See, that's going to be the problem for me, that headband. If I can't get something comfy, it's hard. It's hard to give it a fair shake. Imaging on the Kef Q150s is outstanding. That's good to know. The Wharfdales have really good imaging. They just don't have, like, the stage isn't quite as thrown as far, like on the Sonys. The stage is a little bit farther. But in my opinion, the Wharfdales are better at imaging. So I might actually like the Kefs if they do it that way. The Aria Ananda suspension headband is way more comfortable. The XS headband could be a problem if you have a small head. I haven't heard the 7XX actually from Massdrop. I've only heard the 612s and 702, 701, the whatever those the green Quincy's are, and then the white ones. And of course the 612s that are sitting over there, laying down underneath them. So if you look to this side, to the wall, you'll see the Meze 99 Classics. The ones that are laying down on the bottom, man, it's really hard to point your finger. Okay, there you go. There's the 612s laying down. If you want a comfy headphone and don't mind an attached cable, the 612s just like disappear on your head. They are so comfortable. Once that leather headband softens up a little bit, you have to kind of bend it when you first get it. Let's see here. What amp do you power your speakers with? I have a couple different amps right now. On loan is the VMV A2 that I did a review of a week or so ago. And that's on loan from Opos Audio. And then I also have a Gen 1 PS Audio Sprout and a Mica Oragain. Both of them are okay, the Oragain and the Sprout, but the A2, phenomenal. Pricey, extremely pricey, but man, the A2 is just great. I want to get the only speaker version of it, the A1. And then I'll be able to use my passive speakers, because the Sprout and the Mica Oragain I'm just not really that happy with. They're okay, but I like that VMV. 7XX is about the same as the 712. Treble and upper mid-range can be very peaky. Clarity and soundstage, very good. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of the 712, 702, whatever it is. As just like the 612s, man. You listen to it and you're like, these are tuned by Quincy Jones. I should be able to listen to Quincy Jones music. And some of the Quincy Jones music is just like, it's just, whew, aggressive. That would be the word I'd use, aggressive. They're intensely aggressive there. Any other good questions? Did I miss anything? Have I tried? All right, let's see. Have I tried the Aeon Noirs? No, I can't seem to get them in for a review. Every time that I try and ask, they're not available. So unfortunately, I just can't seem to get a hold of them at the moment. Let's see here. Bass is really good on the Ananda. Totally agree. I really like the bass on the Ananda. I find that the bass on the Ananda is very accurate. Now, it's not the most impactful. If it had just a little bit more, maybe that would be something that I would want to add in. So if the XS has that, maybe it is the better one. Guess I'll find out. I wonder if you can take the headband off and transplant the Ananda headband. If you can do that, maybe you have a winner. I don't know. All right, let's see here. Quincy must have had hearing loss up there. Possible. Or they're just not sensitive up there. And, some people are, they just can tolerate, like, I'm a treble head. I really like it, but I like mine to be very natural and accurate. With him being a musician and being up and close to that, maybe just kind of got used to it. I don't know. Topping L30. Watched the review. Let's see here. See if you can get the Topping MX5 DAC headphone amp, speaker amp. Hear good things about it. Okay, I'll take a look at it. See if it has enough oomph to power the old Wharfdales. I think it's fairly cheap too. Isn't that thing only like $100? Something like that. Noirs are an interesting headphone, hard to categorize. Not very impactful, yet extend pretty low. They have really great isolation and sometimes terrific resolution. Very portable. Yeah, I like the way they fold. Dan Clark does fantastic in build. Most comfortable headphones I've ever worn have been made by Dan Clark. Ether Cs are insanely light and just super comfy. The Aeons were insanely built. And pretty much any other Dan Clarks I've held and used. That boy is talented when it comes to that. All right, let's see here. What kind of music have I been into lately? Same stuff I've been listening to. Haven't really added anything new. It's been pretty much all my playlists that I've been using, just because I haven't really had time to add anything of new. I've just been so busy with everything else. Sorry to disappoint. But if you are interested in any of my playlists, or what type of music, just send a message and send me an email, and I'll give you some links. Now, most of the songs links will be through Tidal, but I do have in the descriptions of most videos, probably not the live stream, but most videos have a songwhip.com links so that you can go to any of the available services that have that song. Or you can just get the names of the songs and look them up yourself, whichever way you want to do it. But yeah, hit me up and I'll send you some lists. Any other questions, comments, concerns, thoughts? Ask me anything. I said that at the beginning. Ask me anything. I will answer it. I don't necessarily know how, but yes, I will answer it. Are FLAC files the best, or is there a better quality audio file? We kind of touched this earlier. It actually, to me, does not matter whether it's MP3, FLAC, DSD, MQA, or anything in between. It can be all the way up to 768. It can be 16-bit. It can be whatever. It really depends on the recording and mastering of the actual file. And the abilities of the gear that's used. For the most part, FLAC is fine. It really is. There are instances where I will listen to the FLAC version, the DSD version, the MP3 version, and MQA version of the same song, and the MP3 sounds the best or the FLAC sounds the best. And then there's other instances where the DSD or the MQA just absolutely kills everything else. It just sounds better. It just kind of depends. It really, most of my local library that I have on my computer is FLAC. I think I have like 4 DSD files and no MQA on local. Everything else is FLAC or MP3. When I'm streaming, it just kind of depends on whatever version of the song sounds the best. I really could care less, to be honest. As long as it sounds good and gives a proper reproduction, that's all that matters to me. All right, let's see here. Do you listen to Random Access Memories at all? Great demo music for legendary Daft Punk. Yeah, actually, there's. I actually have the recording of that FLAC version, I believe, on my local files. Yeah, I use it all the time. Listen to it all the time. I love that track. You can get really good imaging out of that track. Fantastic. If you like reggae music, try General Levy, the Monkey Man, Living Sting mix. Huge soundstage and very well recorded. I do like reggae music. Don't think I've ever heard of that one, so I definitely will look it up. Thanks. Let's see. I saw you were doing some write-ups on headphone cables. I did enjoy getting your perspective and thoughts, especially on the Arctic cables. Hey, thanks. Yeah, I mean, cables are it's so weird. It's so bizarre. Like, I mean, I don't know if you go to an audio show and some of those vendors that are there, they'll, $3,000 cables, $4,000 cable, and they'll try to like convince you that it sounds better than a couple $100 cable or even less. And you're like, maybe? I mean, a millionth of a difference. I mean, maybe. I mean, you almost have to have like bat ears to hear the difference on some of them. The only real significant difference, as I mentioned in that write-up, is the difference between like silver and copper. And some of the hybrids, you might notice a few different things, and you really have to have super good revealing gear to just notice the very subtle differences. It's really crazy, but it's such a huge rabbit hole. Yeah, interesting. But you're welcome for the write-up. I'm glad you read it. My website, thehonestaudiophile.com. If you haven't checked it out, I don't post a whole lot there anymore. I'm because I'm doing videos now more, but I do post every time randomly over there, and have a lot of write-ups on different topics. So check it out. See what you think. Some of the things have been transitioned to a video, some haven't. So there's some actual reviews over there. Excuse me. Some actual reviews over there that have never been made to video. So check out the website. All right, let's see here. Chromebook 3.5 headphone jack to amp seems to not be producing enough power. Yeah, I actually have a Chromebook. This is actually a Pixel book, and I've noticed that also, that the headphone out on it is not the strongest. So I actually recommend, if you are going to do that, is use the USB-C out going into a DAC or a dongle. Kind of seems to work better in that regard, but for some strange reason, the Pixel book and the Google books tend to be a little weak sauce when it comes to that. Cables are tough, really subjective, extremely. As I said, it kind of comes down to what you listen to, what gear you're using, and the chain, to really hear differences. Like some people say they can't hear differences in DACs, can't hear differences in amps, can't hear differences in music bits and, types and things like that. In order to really hear that, you can't just have one good source and a bunch of crap along with it. You have to have good all the way through, and it all has to be very revealing. So like if you have one revealing thing and everything else is kind of mediocre at revealing, you're not going to hear differences. You have to have everything be revealing, and it's hard. It's really, really hard to hear differences and changes. A lot of times you'll notice differences, like when you have a higher end and then you go to something lower, or you go from an extreme lower to something higher, you'll notice a difference. And also, if you like take one of your components out and swap something else in, sometimes you'll notice a difference, especially if you're used to that sound over and over again. But yeah, it's hard, really, really hard. And don't get me started on power cables. Yeah. All right. So what's the most expensive piece of gear you own? Meze Empyrean. And then next to that is the Rawson Red Zero. And then it's going to come down to Hi-Fi Aria Stealth, Mr. Speaker's Ether C, things like that, and keep on going on. But yes, the Empyrean and the Red Zero, those are the two most expensive things I bought and that I own. You should spend no more than 5% of your budget on cables. It would be an interesting amount. Someone once tried telling me that it was a lot higher than that. I was like, no. Let's see here. Are cables from Blue Jean Cable Company any good? Haven't heard those. I don't think. They may have been at an audio show. I don't recall if I've heard them or not. I've heard decent things, and the reviews on them seem okay, but I can't remember having an experience with it. If I did, didn't make much of an impact. Let's see here. Can you ask everyone to recommend one song they like? I love to find new music and to add to my library. Okay, there you go. Everybody that's in the chat, add your favorite song. And then Chef Steve and I will go through the live chat, and we will take out those songs and add them to our library, and I will listen to them and get back to you all on the next live stream. There, how's that sound? I will actually do some homework. Because I do like to hear new music, so I will do that for you all. So put your favorite songs down, and if I haven't heard it, I will add it to my thing. All right. So at the risk of backlash, I will say cables don't matter. Hey, I'm with you. For the most part, I think cables are they're on the lower end of making a difference. We'll put it that way. Have you ever blown an amp just by unplugging with the amp on max volume and high gain? My Magni doesn't work anymore by doing this. I blew up a pair of headphones doing that way back in the day. The I've had some things fail, but I've never blown them exactly by doing that. Yeah, do be careful with that though. All right, let's see here. Cables make difference when you really concentrate on one song and play over and over while changing cables. You will hear warmth, cool details, and even harder hitting bass. I mean, it's very possible. It really is. As you said, though, it's extremely hard to hear. I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just saying minimal. All right, let's see here. And as I said, you have to have very resolving gear all the way throughout your chain. Favorite. Here's the crazy ones. John 5 and the Creatures. Now, that's a group I've never heard. I can admit that. So thank you. General Levy, Monkey Man. Somebody that understands me, Vargas and Lagola. Okay. Tracy Chapman, Give Me One Reason to Stay Here. I've heard that song. I like that song. All right, let's see here. What else we got? Okay. Audioholics does great technical videos. Blue Jeans are good. Okay. Haven't checked out Audioholics. I'll have to check out that channel. All right. Favorite track for headphone test. Receiver by Noonverber. Never heard of that song. Okay, let's see. Hunting Down the Killer by the Cock Robin. I may have heard that song many moons ago, but I don't remember 100%. I'll have to listen to it. Let's see here. I have the Meze Empyrean. How different is it from the Red Zero? And what would you say recommend for your next TO2L, the Focal Stelia? Focal Stelia would be interesting. I haven't heard it. Very curious about it. Would like to review it. The differences between the Empyrean and the Red Zero is, watch the Red Zero review. It is in that a lot more detail than I could pull off the top of my head. In fact, let me see if I can pull up my website real quick. Okay, so for everybody, that's what the website looks like. Yeah, it's audiophile.com. And let me go to my Red Zero review here. And I'm going to cheat. I'm going to read my Red Zero review on the website. Forgive me. I'm going to play the old man card. There we go. Okay. So the Empyrean does is more natural and realistic with depth and layering as far as soundstage goes. The Empyrean puts you in the middle of the venue and you're really close to having things around you and people tapping you and bumping you, and it's basically the only thing you're missing is someone sitting next to you and dropping a beer in your lap. As far as the sound, the Red Zero has a more natural and realistic sound. The Empyrean is more lush and airy. It has a softer, smoother edge, and it's very non-offensive, in my opinion. Whereas the Red Zero is more accurate. You get the sharpness, the edginess. You get more of the actual tone and timbre of an instrument. You can feel the edges and the crispness and the harshness and the sibilance and the sharpness when it is present. Whereas the ampering kind of makes it all just kind of smooth over like butter. Okay, let's get back to some questions here. Let's see here. On the Nature of Daylight by the Orchestra of the Swan. Interesting. Orchestra of the Swan. I think I've heard some of their stuff. I can't recall that specifically. I'm terrible with band names and groups and all that kind of stuff. Let's see here. Eric Clapton, Come Into My Kitchen. Excellent. Let's see here. I am a metalhead, so I have two songs, Mortal Share and Wintergate by Insomnium. Okay. I'm not much of a metal person, so I definitely will give them a listen and see if it changes my mind. All right, let's see here. Cables again. We used to use lamp wire, and it was great. Personally, I feel most super expensive ones aren't worth the money. Merely my opinion. Hey, I have a friend. He's actually an electrician here in town. He might actually be watching the stream, and he would say the same thing. So, Larry, you're right on it. I mean, it's wire's wire. To a certain degree, for sure. Let's see here. If you know anything about electrical engineering, the cables really shouldn't do anything other than maybe changing impedances. Yeah, they'll change the impedance, and then they'll also kind of, sort of, they seem to change tone a little bit, like a little bit warmer or a little bit more energetic, a little bit more clear and clarity with the silvers, whereas the coppers tend to be a little bit warmer. If that's the impedance affecting it, then fine. However you want to look at it. I'm not a science guy. Let's see. Do you create the website yourself? If so, how difficult was it? Yeah, I used Wix.com, and then I just set it all up. It took me about a day. It has all kinds of steps that you just work through, and you can edit it as you go along. It's not really that hard to do. Just time consuming. And then it's actually really simple. Like, you go to your creator portion of the website, and to write things up, you just write it right there. You don't have to write it in like Word or Google Docs or anything and then transplant it. You can just do it right there on the website. It's really easy. Tommy, you're very welcome. Coat hanger as a speaker cable. Now, that would be interesting. I've heard you can do that with subwoofers because all they need is a signal, but I didn't know if you could do that with actual speakers. I'm not going to try it. I'm not going to test that. But I'll believe you guys. Let's see here. Any plans to review the FIO K9 Pro DAC amp? One is in the process of being sent to me. Let's see. Should I buy the Arias or something similar? Truthfully, I wouldn't get the Aria. The Aria is a little aggressive and intense. I would personally go with either the Katori Dauntless or the Dunu Titan S, 10 Hi-Fi T2. If you want to step up and get a little bit more money, go with the Moondrop Kato. Didn't make much of a difference using the coat hanger. Now, that's interesting. If you have a link to that video, I would love to see that. All right, let's see here. It's sort of a pop classical, but fun. Okay, cool. I look forward to hearing that song. That really sounds interesting. All right, let's see here. Good player, power, good cables, and a good set of Iems. Yes, totally agree. All right. Are XLR balance cables actually better than RCA on a desktop setup? Very short runs. Short runs, RCA is fine, single-ended. Honestly, I haven't heard much difference, if any, by connecting RCA into something and then using the balanced out. Maybe my ears are just bad or my gear isn't. The amplifier did the most of the work. Now, if it's a true balanced setup, that probably would make a difference. So, like if your DAC is only balanced out, like the Gishelli Erish amp is balanced in, and your DAC is only balanced, and so you're going balanced to balanced, maybe you'll get a difference. But now, mostly with balanced long runs, because it's more durable. The the signal is going to last longer and be able to run longer, and plus you'll get a low power increase. But I don't notice a huge difference like sonically. Science might be able to explain it. Let's see. Have you ever listened to vinyl on a good setup? Sounds so real to me. Yes, I have heard vinyl setups. Audio shows mostly. Don't have one in-house. And the only other setup that I've heard recently as vinyl was vinyl to Bluetooth speakers. So yeah, I wouldn't really call that a setup. But yeah, vinyl has a very unique way of presenting it. I'm not sure if I would say it's the most natural and realistic, because I haven't been able to like sit down and put it on my gear and in my setup, but it comes really close. Yeah. Vinyl has the special sauce. I will put it that way. All right, let's see here. Get to Olena. I got mine a couple days ago, and it was cleaner and bassier than the Oxygen. Better fit. Well, the fit would be nice. Now, of course, I haven't actually used the Oxygen. I used the Hannah, which is kind of similar in build, I believe. So that'd be interesting. I am really curious about hearing the Olena. Hopefully I get a chance. Let's see. Are Sennheiser Iems like IE100 Pros, IE300s good compared to the Starfields, the Titans? Not sure. Haven't heard those. I've only heard the 215s. And the 215, you like bass. And you want a little small IEM that just disappears in your ear. 215s. I'm sorry. Those are the Shure 215s. Not Sennheiser. I haven't heard any Sennheisers. Sorry. I do apologize. All right, let's see here. It was some old country hillbilly guy years ago that used the coat hanger. Huh. Okay. Okay, yeah. If you can find a video, send it to me. You'll have to email it because YouTube doesn't allow links. All right, let's see here. Looking to purchase from Massdrop soon and wonder if it has good reputation. Yeah. I haven't had any problems. And when I have had issues with gear, they've been very responsive to me, very quick in replacing it. Haven't had any issues there. So I use Massdrop all the time. I have a affiliate link if you want to use it. I'm not trying to be a shill or anything, but all right, let's see here. What's a song that you recommend everyone listen to? Okay, I'm going to real quickly put a link to a thing that I wrote up about music into the comments, into the chat. And I highly recommend that that you read it. It explains what I'm looking for in songs and when I'm reviewing and things like that. So here we go. You're going to see it's going to come across on my personal name. But there you go. So that's a link to what I actually wrote up. As far as songs, there are songs listed in it. And think that it would be helpful for you all to kind of understand what I listen to, what I'm looking for. But my favorite song on the whole list is by Houston Person. It's called "You Are My Sunshine." It's a exceptionally good song, well recorded, and just has fantastic tone and timbre and very accurate, in my opinion. And then if you want another really good song, so I'll give you a couple songs on. They're listed as bonus tracks on my write-up. Diana Krall, Singing in the Rain. And then the Last of the Mohicans theme by 40 Fingers. And then David Phelps singing America the Beautiful, God Bless America medley. Recommend those songs very much so. but all the other ones on that list that I sent also, check them out. There's the write up explains what I'm looking for in each song, and also it's the songs that I use last when I'm reviewing headphones and Iems, speakers, DACs, and amps. Every single thing that I review goes through these 21 songs as my final take. So if they don't go through the approval of that list, then determines what the outcome of the review will be. And then I listened, obviously, to a ton of other music before that. All right, let's see here. What else we got? Where was... Did that list come through in the comments, by the way? Yep, there it is. Okay. All right, I bought a lot on drop, no problem for me. Yep, totally agree, Justin. Yeah, I haven't had any problems. I had the some issues with like the old Hi-Fi-Man 350s. Those things snapped in half, which happened to everybody. And drop replaced those really easy. I had an issue with my THX amplifier, my one linear amplifier. Had to return that, and they replaced it immediately. Had an issue with another headphone at one point. They replaced it immediately. Haven't had any problems. The stream looks and sounds great. Thanks. Last time we had like bandwidth problems. That was annoying at the beginning. And throughout the whole thing, it would just like freeze up and I'd get all pixelated. That was fun. Normally, as many live streams as I've done, I've always had something funky happen. It's strange. Oh, Dave's leaning on his desk again. That's making my speakers rock back and forth. All right, let's see here. Depends on the funds. Yes, definitely. All right, let's see here. What did you think of this Super Bowl halftime entertainment show? I actually didn't watch it. I was out and didn't get back and be able to watch the game until the fourth quarter, which was awesome, by the way. Congratulations to the LA Ram fans. And really sorry, man. I thought the Bengals were going to pull that one out. So it was just a really good game. And I was just glad to see a good game. I didn't have my favorite team in it. Stupid NFL overtime rules. But anyways, congratulations to both teams for making that far and just putting together a really good season. And it was a really good game. So I'm glad to see that Matt Stafford finally got something for his career. The guy's put up insane numbers and had a spectacular career and finally got rewarded for it. And Joe Burrow, he's going to be there again. That kid's special. All right, let's see here. But Joe Burrow's going to have to go through Josh Allen first. All right, let's see here. Best acoustic guitar recording and best drum solo recordings. That is mentioned in the review or in the links that I just posted. As far as favorites, the probably something from Guns N' Roses or Rush would be on my list. As far as guitar solos, maybe Van Halen might be thrown in there too. Drums, probably have to go back to Rush. Rush was kind of Rush and Metallica were like my bands back in the day. Kind of a fanboy of those two groups. As far as I did like Van Halen quite a bit too back in the day. Hopefully my pastor's not watching. I get in trouble. Anyways. All right, so let's see what else we got. Best acoustic guitars recordings. There's so many to pick from acoustic guitars. So many talents out there. Okay, let's see here. Listen to Steely Dan, Hey 19. At 3 minutes, 10 seconds, you will hear exact 7 cymbal strikes within 10 seconds. You should hear all 7 strikes clean, okay? The Bills Chief game was one of the greatest games I've ever watched. Absolutely. I'm 46 years old, and I've been watching football since about the first Sunday I was home from the hospital. And I don't recall a game that was that epic than the Bills Chiefs game. There's been a lot of great games through the years. Josh Allen played about the most perfect game that you could ever play. And the NFL ripped it from him. It really did. They need to fix that dumb rule. Plain and simple. The overtime rules for the NFL playoffs absolutely are terrible. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a Bills fan. The Bengals thankfully got an interception off of Mahomes, or else the same rule would have applied and the Chiefs would have walked away with that win too and been in the Super Bowl. I'm not saying that to make Chiefs fans angry. I'm saying that to say the NFL needs to change their rules. Plain and simple. That's my opinion. I didn't know this was going to become a sports podcast here or live stream, but hey, you know what? I'll talk it. All right, let's see here. Steely Dan Aha has everything in it. Okay. I will take a look at it. Phil Collins is a very great drummer. He is actually a really good drummer. That's true. There's so many greats out there. I mean, we all could probably mention several just off the top of your head. All right, let's see here. What do you like most in Iems and headphones? Obviously, tonality has to be right, but for me, I want details. The ability to resolve little details in music is what I'm all about. What I like in a headphone or an IEM or speakers is I'm looking for an overall neutral presentation and natural. So it has to have natural presentation. So it has to sound lifelike. It has to sound realistic. And then I want it to have balance and be neutral. And neutral isn't flat. Okay, so neutral is anything that isn't colored. So in a neutral sound, there is elevations, there are valleys, there are peaks, there are rises. But they just can't be elevated to or dipped to be colored. So a neutral sound is anything that is uncolored. And so I'm looking for that sound signature in a headphone and an IEM is a neutral and natural sound. And as far as details and resolution, resolution has to be really good but for me, details don't have to be like I have to hear every single little thing. So I don't have to hear somebody scratching their chair. I don't have to hear somebody scratching their head. I don't have to hear those type of details. But what I do need to hear is all the details, tone and timbres and all that within the music and and the instruments and the vocalists and to get the actual thing. Because think about when you're in the real world, you don't hear every single little detail. You hear mostly whatever way you're focused, and then everything else is kind of around you. You might catch it, but it's not like super right there evident. It's usually where your head is kind of positioned and where you're focused at, if that makes sense. Okay, let's see. It blows my mind how good headphones can sound. They literally put you in a specific environment and so immersive. Absolutely. Headphones can do it. IEMs can do it. Speakers can do it. And they all do it in a slightly different way. And some are a little bit more accurate. Some are a little bit more intimate, a little bit more immersive, a little bit more engaging. And that's what makes the hobby fun. And to be able to say one is better than the other is really unfair because they all do things differently. But IEMs especially have really taken a step forward, in my opinion. Headphones have been kind of in their place for a while. I'd like to see headphones start to do things a little differently, start to maybe swap up what technologies, maybe add in multiple drivers, things like that. Type of technology. I'd like to see that kind of take a next step forward. IEMs have really took that leap and have started to make significant strides to compete. Speakers you're starting to see, in some regards, different technologies, different combinations of things. You know, like the Wharfdales here, they have the bottom ported bass and things like that. You're getting a little bit of different things. You're getting some 3-way, some 5-way speakers, things like that. Some interesting stuff that is kind of cool technologies, some totally different types of drivers, technologies. But headphones have been kind of doing the same thing, changing tonalities a little bit. I'd like to see them kind of mix things up a little bit, taking that next step. But I agree about the soundstage of headphones can be really good. Best AKG headphone you have reviewed? Well, I've only reviewed a couple. And the best one that I have reviewed would be the K275 and the 612 Pros. I liked really both of them. The totally different animals, though. One's a monitor. One's more of a reference. Have I gotten used to my new hours yet? Not really. I still have the tendency to want to stay up really late at night, especially on weekends. Which is a bad thing for me because it throws me completely off, because I have to get up at like 6 a.m., 6:30 in the morning for my new job. And I'm used to going to bed at that time. But it's getting there. I'm getting better. I got really good at sleeping when the sun was up, and now I can't really sleep when the sun is down. It's really strange. It's hard. It's hard to Okay, Tommy, looks like your message got retracted. So either rephrase it and resubmit it, or don't include links, one of the two. All right, let's see here. What's an IEM under $500 you would recommend for a warm, natural sound? Oravetti OH400s are actually really good. They're a little bit on the dark side. Don't have a lot of experience going, like $500 range is kind of odd for me in IEMs. I haven't gotten a whole lot of them in for review. Let's see. You could go with the Moondrop Kato. You could go with the 7 Hz Timeless. You could go with the C Audio Iems. And there's another one I'm thinking of here. The Shure Soloist, but it's got a little bit of a peak and a treble. That might not fit that. Couple of others. Soloist isn't really that good at detail retrieval, though. Yeah, I would stick with the Iems, the Kato, the Timeless, the OH400 from Oravetti. All right, let's see here. I put on some Keb Mo for Workmate. He made me copy it for him, even though he said he didn't like blues music. Oh, if you're going to get somebody into blues, that's a good choice. You're going to be able to impress them. So that's a very good recommendation. Love me some blues. Let's see, I miss hi-fi shows. I was at the one in 2019 in Michigan that I was at, and we took a picture together. Oh yeah, I remember that. That was awesome. Yeah, that was fun. And that's when my, my 788 broke. Yeah, I had to get that fixed. That was a bummer, but that was a fun day. I remember that day. What state am I broadcasting from? I am broadcasting from the middle of the United States in Indiana. Let's see. You have 23 pairs of IEMs, and the best for under 500 is the Moondrop Blessing 2. If you want good bass and warmth, the Unique Melody 3DT. I haven't heard the UM 3DT. I want to, though. That's one of those ones I wish I'd ever heard. And yes, the Blessing 2 is fantastic. I truly highly recommend the Blessing 2. It may have a little bit of treble rise for some if you're a little sensitive to that. But other than that, it's a fantastic one. And if you're looking for a little bit more bass, the Blessing 2 might come across as being a little bit light in that area. But yeah, I love the Blessing too. Thing is fantastic. Insanely good detail and resolution. Crazy good. Totally agree with you, Manny. That's a very good recommendation. I would say the Kato is the one under 500. Starfield is my favorite. I actually like the Kato better than the Starfield. The Starfield for me was good and it had a nice warmness to it and stuff. But the Starfield had this peak in the treble that was like that just hit me in the wrong spot. It was just like the lower mid upper treble region of the Starfield, and then a little bit further into the treble, and it just was a little bit like it came out at the wrong time. I liked the Starfield a lot, but it just had those moments. Whereas the Kato doesn't do that. It's more controlled and doesn't have that peak as much. You think that'll change with the Olina? Very possible. I really, really, really want to hear the Olina. Really like the Kato. Highly recommend that one. Speaking of blues, Joe Bonamassa will be here in Augusta, Georgia on the 28th. That's awesome. That's awesome. Anybody into like big band, old school music? Because I want to see if the tickets are still available. Because I've been contemplating going over here to our local place. Big Bad Voodoo Daddy is coming. I really want to see them. Has anybody ever seen them in concert? Are they cool? Big Bad Voodoo Daddy. I love them. They're awesome for the big band era. Yep, tickets are still available. Only single seats, so I guess I have to go by myself. There you go. See. The speaker that is on the stand is rocking a bit. Yeah, it's really weird. Like, it's sturdy. It's just that the stand doesn't have anything in between. It's 8-inch riser, and whenever I bump my desk, I have it's an older house, and so it's showing its age, and so every now and then the speaker will remind me, hey, don't touch your desk. Or kick your camera like I just did. All right. Yeah, I had somebody really point that out in one of the videos. Was, hey, you have an earthquake or something during your video. The speaker was really rocking. So those stands, they're nice. I like the stands, but they're a little bit, I don't know, a little unstable. Okay, let's see. No one talks about tips much, but the Asla Crystal standards are the best I've ever tried. Wide bore, comfortable. I've never tried those. Wasn't a huge fan of some of the other Asla tips, but I'll take those under consideration. I try tips all the time, so I'll have to take a gander at those and give them a shot. I do like wide bore tips. JVC spiral dots are kind of a go-to for me. Sounds freaking great. Okay. I'll have to check them out. What do you know about the Massdrop 7XX? I know that people like them, that they have a little bit of treble and big sound stages, but I've never heard them. Sorry. I hear they're really comfortable too. Super light. But most of the AKGs in that model, like the 612 Pros that I have back over there, are extremely comfy. I mean, they just disappear. All right, let's see here. You will love the Olina. It has more extended treble and detail than the Oxygen. If you heard the Oxygen. I haven't heard the Oxygen, only heard the Hannah. Was not a fan. Just wait until you hear the Olina. Michael Bruce, the picky reviewer, fell in love with him. Well, yeah, that's true. Oh, Red Eyes is quite picky. But if he liked them, quite possibly I may also. Okay, I will. Michael Bruce, the picky one. That's funny. But he definitely is. Let's see here. Your hi-fi room looks pleasant. It was a pleasure seeing it grow over the years. Well, thank you. Yeah, it's been added to over time for sure. How's yours coming along? You had the JDS Element, or no? You had the L amp and the LDAC. You still rocking those? And did you ever? Let's see. You're going for medical doctor. You ever get the career on track there too? If you don't mind sharing. See, it has a more extended treble and detailed in action. If you heard the, oh, sorry, it didn't pop up proper. Come on, Dave. You're a professional streamer here. You're supposed to know how to read mouse. All right. I have the AKG 701s and the topping L30. I know I am new to headphone listening. Hopefully, I am choosing well. It's probably a good, decent start. Do you use a DAC or are you going straight out of your computer, using a dongle into the L30? Just curious there. That's a good start, I would say. I wasn't a huge fan of the L30, but it's a good starting point as far as a DAC or as far as an amplifier. Hey, kitties, let's get along over there. Come on, fellas. Cats are getting tired of being in the office. All right, JVC spiral dots I haven't tried. Wide bore seems to be the ticket. Narrow bore makes too much bass. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, Steve, that's a good start, definitely for sure. I wouldn't tell you otherwise if I didn't think so. Even though I haven't heard the 701s in a long time. It's either 701 or 702 that I heard. Don't recall. Let's see here. No DAC, no dongle yet. Okay. So you're either going straight out of your phone or straight out of your PC. I would, if you would want to take a small leap, you could start with a dongle, like a USB-C dongle, something fairly nice, like a periodic audio Rhodium or a Next Drive Spectre X if you want to spend a little bit more and you want a little bit more warmth. And then you plug that into your L30, or you could get a small DAC and use that, and then upgrade as you go, whichever one you want to see. I would take small leaps. I wouldn't jump into something big, super mega expensive. Cool. Well, congratulations. Hopefully you get the state board exam approval. I know that's a stressful time. So compresses the sound a little bit. That's interesting. Yeah, sometimes it's really weird. Like some IEMs react really well to like wide bore, and then some of them just sound like atrocious with wide bore, and then some really go well with the narrow, and then you have to have some that are like shorter, but it's really weird. Like some IEMs are like super picky to tips, and then others doesn't seem to really matter. That's craziness. I did see the Element 3 came out. I'm really curious about that. Um, JDS Labs, if you're listening or watching, I would love to review one of those. And yeah, so hit me up. Yeah, I'll tell you again how much I love the periodic audio Rhodium special. I totally agree, Lori. I'm so glad that you like that and that it works with Apple. Because I'm not an Apple guy, so I'm glad that it works with Apple. That's awesome. Let's see here. Did you IFI Zendek? Zendek would be a good upgrade to that, and it would be a little bit warmer probably, as far as an amplifier to your L30. You'll get, and it might help with the treble on the 701s, 702s. If you find that to be a little bit peaky, it might smooth it just a little bit and tame it down. Give it a little bit more of a lusher sound. Topping D10, that's a good start. And you can use it in many other ways also. So it's not a bad start. If you did want to go, you could go Zendek. They're about the same price, give or take-ish, somewhere in that range. Yeah. some Iems. They're just strange. I had one in. I can't remember which one it was. I was playing around with the other day. I must have went through like 12 different pairs of tips. Everything from CTM flexi tips, JVC spiral dots, RHA dual densities, ASLAs. I even got out the old KZ tips and the new KZ tips, which are actually a lot nicer than the old ones. Got the tin hi-fi ones. I tried foams. It's like, and I ended up going back to the stock tip because it was like nothing. I hated the stock tip, but the other ones didn't help it. I was going nuts. All right, let's see here. Might get to Element 3. If I do, I will definitely send it to you for a review. Awesome. That'd be cool. We'd really like that. Too many tips. Yeah, I have so many tips. It's ridiculous. And trying to remember, that's the hardest part. So, like, I have cases of them. And inside of here, and inside of here. This is all tips. And, you know, I try to keep them in their own separate little containers. And remembering what each one is, it just gets tedious. You're just like, okay, which one is this? This looks similar to this one. Here we go again, kicking the old camera. Okay. Are decks about all the same quality or more money equals better sound? Not necessarily. DACs are unique. So there's a lot of things that go into a DAC and that can make a difference in sound. It's different chips make different tonal differences. Some have different qualities as far as detail retrieval, resolution, tone, timbre. And then also on top of that, you have the abilities of, you know, does it do DSD, MQA, that type of thing. What kind of components are inside it, the quality of the components. There's all kinds of things that go into a DAC that makes differences. And I am a believer. You can hear differences in DACs. But it has to be, you have to have a good system in order to hear. You have to have good headphones and revealing. And not all DACs sound different than others. So just kind of depends. More money doesn't necessarily mean better. Yeah. There's so many components. And then amplifiers, you can hear differences too. I mean, I know, very subjective here, and this is just my opinion, and you can agree or disagree, but I do hear differences in DACs and amps. Have to do your research. You really do have to do research. Okay, let's see here. Are DACs about all the same quality? Are you limited to iOS camera adapter? What a pain. I now go USB-C directly into my iPad Mini 6 and iPad Pro with a periodic audio, so much nicer. That's nice. At least you don't have that big clunky adapter to have to go through. I didn't think that. Well, I guess some of the devices, iOS devices, now have USB-C instead of Lightning. Is that how that works? Or does Periodic offer a Lightning version? I'm not sure. Zen deck is great for the money. The built-in amp is not as good as the output to the 789, but the Zen has bass boost. That's true. The Zen deck's amp is not the best, but for starters, it's not bad. If you're going to use an external amplifier, it doesn't really matter because the output of the Zen deck is way better. The Zen deck's amplifier is a little bit warmer, whereas when you use the Zen deck as a DAC only, you don't quite get as warm. But you're right, you can use that bass boost if you want to, and it does work on DAC out also, if I remember correctly. Let's see here. Sounds a little smeared. That's interesting that it would do that. Yeah, the 789 can be sterile and thin, but it also depends on the DAC that goes into it. So I found that with the 789, it does have that sterile, I don't know if I would call it almost sterile, cold signature. Very resolving, very detailed. But if you do add in a different DAC to it, it kind of changes a little bit. You can hear the difference. So like adding like a Shit Audio Bifrost 2, something that's a little bit warmer, or a multi-bit type DAC, or just a solid state that is a little bit warmer, something like a Burson, or something like an Odyssey Deckard, for example. That removes that sterileness, that coldness a little bit. It makes the 789 kind of sound a little bit different, with still having the power and the details and stuff. 789 is a very solid amplifier. If you don't need balanced, one linear is basically the baby 789. It's fantastic. Not quite as sterile. Has a little bit of a more natural tone to it. But I agree with you on 789. 789 has to be paired with a good DAC. You put it with a very cold DAC, and that thing will shred your ears. There's no saving your ears. Let's see. iPhone still lightning. Interesting. Wonder why they're doing that. Apple is interesting in that regard. My wife does like her new. She got a mini, the newest mini, and she likes it using the pencil, and she loves that thing. That's like the only Apple device in our whole house. Let's see here. Tapping out. Have to work in the morning. Thanks for everyone for it. Hey, thanks for swinging by, Paul. And Paul is loaning me a headphone, so review will be coming out soon, and that's awesome. All right. Well, we've been going for over 2 hours. Probably about time to start wrapping up. Let's stick around for another 15 minutes. We'll quit at 10:30 Eastern, so 22:30. So 15 more minutes to get your questions in, comments, thoughts. Bring it on. All right. So have I ever watched Tyler Hurtinson's review of the Ultrasone Edition 10s? His face and everything could not stop laughing. Yes. And that is like the most epic review ever. Man, I love that review. And the song that he's listening to is torture, by the way. So I don't blame him whatsoever for his reaction. I've never heard the Edition 10s, actually. Trying to think. Some of the other... Tile had some really, really great reviews. He had a knack for being able to be like down to earth and connect with everybody, but yet be detailed so that people that were a little bit more knowledgeable and a little bit more advanced, so to speak, were able to understand and not get bored with his review. And yet Tile was able to dumb it down enough too for plebs like me who could learn from him. Tile he's fantastic. He's one of my heroes as a reviewer. Hey, do I have to tell you every single live stream not to play with the cables on the back of the door? Cats are getting restless here. Oh, there we go. All right. So this is Simon. This is the one that just got in trouble for playing with the cables on the back of the door. You want to say hello to everybody? Usually his defense mechanism is if you pick him up, he starts purring. But he's like, there's a microphone, so I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to purr. Is that how it is tonight? You want to say hello to everybody? Okay. All right. Go get yourself in trouble. Crazy cat. All right, so let's see here. Have you ever... Let's see. The 789 isn't going anywhere. Very happy. Yeah, the DAC choices make the 789 great. Absolutely. I've seen a lot of people make comments like on Drop on the 789. Listen to it for a day, send it back, didn't sound good. And I'm like... give it some time. Live with it a little bit. You know, swap some things out. Change a deck, or maybe change some music, or you know, things like that. 789 needs a little bit of. You got to work with it. All right, you're out of here. Have to go. Thanks for the stream. You're very welcome. And let's see here. Ultrasound Pro 650s might be the worst headphone I ever heard. I haven't heard the 650s. I did have the they're broke now, but I had these. Simon actually broke these on me. I had the 860s. I don't know how to fix it, but yeah. He actually pulled them off of the shelf, and then they landed on the floor, and he sat on them, and they broke. Apparently, he didn't like the ultrasounds. So, anyways, 860s. They're an interesting headphone. Unique. They're good for gaming. Not necessarily the best for listening to music. All right, let's see what else we got here. $650s might be the worst headphone ever. Why you say that? What? Just too much treble. Usually, that's the problem with ultrasounds. Is treble, and the imaging is usually kind of funky. All right, let's see here. You're welcome, Lori. Let's see. Listen to Odyssey LCD XC21s. Extremely detailed, but the presence in the recordings was astounding. I thought they were quite revealing from any other headphone I listened to. Yeah, I'm really curious about the LCD XC. Some people say that it has more treble and more bass than the LCD2 closed. But most people do say that it is a little bit more detailed and revealing than the LCD2 closed. But I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I want to get more bass than what the LCD2 closed offers. And I'm pretty well content with the detail and resolving abilities of the LCD2 closed. And treble, I'm pretty content with too. So I'm curious about that. I'd like to get an XC21 in for a review. Let's see here. It's great. He took that one instead of a better one. That's true. Yes, at least he didn't like take down my Ether C's or something like that. Let's see. Hi-Fi 650. That was my first headphone in 2004. Oh. Let's see. 650s have the driver behind a plate that is right next to your ears. They distort with any attempt at low bass. Treble is terrible, and they're grainier than all get out. Heck, that's craziness. So they're not. They're probably set up kind of like the 860, but the 860 is not quite directly on. They have a. See, since they're broke already. The other problem with. All right, let's see if we can. Did it look like that? Like how close they are? Those weren't grainy. They were just like yeah, I guess you could say they were green, a little grainy. Okay, let's see here. Kitty, come here. You're getting yourself in trouble, so you get to sit with me instead. Okay? Yeah. Yeah. There you go. All right, you behave. Can you do that? Let's see, I'm 36, so I don't know about ultrasounds. Yeah. All right. So everybody can say hi. I'm not sure about ultrasound. I mean, I've heard some at like audio shows. Some are definitely better than others. I think they're kind of like Grotto and some of those headphone brands where you either love them or you hate them, and then there's some that are just kind of like. I think that's kind of the way ultrasound is. They kind of fit into that niche. All right, here we go. So this is Milo. Yeah, you gotta. You don't like being. He doesn't like being on camera. Normally he's all cuddly with me. And then Opie, he's over here in the other. He's on the other side of the room. I can't get him. I wonder who ultrasound's market is. That's a good question. I don't know, because they're so unique. They do make Iems. Be curious how those sound. Best audio show you have ever been to? The best audio show I've ever been to is Oxpona. But the most fun audio show I've ever been to was an audio show up in Detroit, in which Member Barry was mentioning earlier that he and I got to meet and take pictures together. We hung out like the whole day. It was really fun. Some interesting gear there, and Jude from Head-Fi was there. In fact, several people from Head-Fi were there up in Detroit. It was really fun. It was a blast. Some great gear. It was awesome. It was in a music store. It was really fun. It was hot. It was like stuffy in the room. You don't see them even in Germany? That's weird. They're a German company. And that's odd. Up in Detroit, you had the Dodge gang shootings and get armed escorts just to get people to the show. No, not at that time. It was actually in a pretty high end neighborhood. It was fun. Let's see. Ultrasound market must be rich people over 90. Possible. It's definitely people that like treble. That's for sure. That's funny. Detroit was. Let's see. That was where I got to try Detroit style pizza. That was fun. That was good. That was like the original stuff. I can't remember the name of the joint. And then we went to another restaurant that was like soul food, and man, was that good. I had to wait forever. It was like an hour-long wait to get to the table. But that place was the bomb. I wish I could remember the name of it. I'll have to look it up. It was awesome. But it's like soul food, like comfort food. And I was like, surely people in Detroit don't know how to do comfort food, but they did. They cooked it well. Alrighty, well, 3 minutes, and then we're gonna call it quits. 3 minutes, last call. Any comments, questions, concerns? Now's your time. This has been a great stream. I've really had fun. I like Chicago style. Detroit is very good too. Yeah, it was interesting. I'd never had it where like the sauce is on top. It's really interesting. I like that. It was good stuff. Rich, thick, very filling. But I'm a New Yorker, so it's. I already have fun, Chef Steve. Keep cooking that good food. But I'm from New York originally. I grew up just outside of Buffalo, and there's nothing like New York style pizza. grease just flowing. You can fold over your pizza, flip the end up, take a bite. Oh man, this is best. And hey, you're very welcome for everything. I appreciate everybody swinging by and saying hello and asking great questions. Very good episode, stream, whatever you want to call it. It was fun. I really enjoyed reaching out to the community and just answering questions and shooting the breeze. And Pizza Rat loved his New York City slices. Well, that's part of the flavor. Fort Dix, Jersey. That's where I first tried New York style pizza. Oh man, good stuff. New Jersey, New York City, New York in general. Pizza is the best. If you are ever in Batavia, New York, go to a place called Batavia's Best or Pontillo's, as it used to be called. Greatest place ever to get pizza. Also, Jerry's Pizza is a great place. But anyways, the I will Google the Pizza Rat. I will. It better not be something that goes on my pizza. But anyways, I really do appreciate everybody swinging by, giving me food recommendations, coffee recommendations, music recommendations, all that kind of stuff. I'll definitely go back through and check all those songs out and get back with you all. So anyways, I appreciate everybody swinging by, and we're going to have to do this again sometime soon. I'm not exactly sure when, depending on the scheduling, but I appreciate everybody and all that you do for the community and how you support the channel and follow me and appreciate everything that you guys do. And you all have yourself a great night. And remember to enjoy the music, and honesty is the best policy.